It's Em. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing an October reading wrap-up, so I'm going to be talking about all the books I read in October, as well as we are going to be picking our November TBR through the TBR jar. And I'm so excited about that because usually I am a mood reader, but my goal for this year is to get through as many books on my physical TBR as possible to make room for new books in the new year, because my book buying ban ends January 1st. So I want to get as many books read from my shelves as possible. So let's get into the video. Sitting on the floor was a little too uncomfortable, so I have moved to a chair, but this is our official October reading wrap-up stack. Here, I'll give you a little sneak peek. Let's talk a little bit more about these books individually. So the first two books that I read was Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. These are the last two books in the trilogy of the Dark Artifices series. And when I tell you, this series has an absolute chokehold on me. I could not get over this series. This book, I was reading in public and trying really hard not to cry, and then came home and very much did cry. This book had me in tears, absolutely loved it. Immediately started reading Queen of Air and Darkness, and while it didn't have me in tears, I was very intrigued the entire time. I could not put this book down, absolutely loved it. I rated this one a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads and this a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I highly recommend this series. If you've read The Mortal Instruments, this particular series is following Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne. They show up as children at the end of the City of Bones Mortal Instruments series. And then they get their own series, which is absolutely awesome. I read the Mortal Instruments series when I was in middle school, and I've had this particular series on my shelf for a very long time, but never got around to reading them. And I am so glad I finally did. I think this is one of my favorite Cassandra Clare series. I absolutely love it. Next, I read Ruth Ware's The It Girl. This takes place in Oxford, and it is a cozy mystery as we follow Hannah and her friends as they try to discover who actually killed Hannah's best friend / college roommate, April. There's a little bit of romance. It goes between past and present. So in the past, we are experiencing the events leading up to April's murder, and in the present, we are experiencing Hannah reconnecting with some of her college friends who also knew April as they try to figure out who actually committed the murder, because the person convicted who died in prison did not do it. I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I would highly recommend this book to anyone and would probably do a reread as well. And we are back to Cassandra Clare. I also read The City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Mortal Instruments series, and while this isn't my favorite book in the Mortal Instruments, I really loved that series. I've been slowly doing a reread of the series this year. It will probably leak into next year. I highly recommend this series. I still stand by what I said, though, that the Dark Artifices reigns higher for me than the Mortal Instruments, so take that how you will. I think I rated this a 3 out of 5, meant to be a 3.5. It's not the strongest book in the series in my opinion, but it's still completely worth reading. If you watched my last video, you know very well that I finished Fourth Wing this month. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros absolutely threw me over. This was an insanely incredible read, and I immediately got Iron Wing to start reading that one as well, and I'm currently reading that now. In this book, we follow Violet, who has entered the writer's quadrant because her mother has forced her to when she really wanted to be a scribe, and we see her grow and develop as a character into the amazing writer that she is. And there's some incredible romance in here. Loads of dragons, loads of action, so if you like a action-filled romantasy, this one is for you. I rated this one a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. After that, I read The Dead Cattails Assassins by P. Djeli Clark. That's how you just how you write it. And this is a very short novella, but it is an incredibly good book. In this book, we follow Aveen, who is brought back from the dead with none of her memories to be an assassin, and we find her next contract is to assassinate who she thinks is herself. And we go through this journey, and it was a very exciting book. If you like necromantic, plot-filled, action-filled stories, then this book is definitely for you. It is an easy, short read. My favorite part of Jelly Clark's writing is how they wrote out the sound effects. So let me read something for you. He didn't stop screaming until she thonked him a few with a chamber pot. Thonkety thonk thonk. I'm not even kidding, that's in here. And that just cracked me up. I absolutely loved this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I would highly recommend. This did come out this year as well, so this is a new read for this year. Next, I read Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Seanan McGuire. This is the second book in the Wayward Children series. In the first book, we've met the 2 characters, Jack and Jill, and this is basically their prequel of how they came to find their door and what they did when they found that world. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I did thoroughly enjoy this book. It was another fast read. As you can see, the Wayward Children series is a rather short series. They're smaller books, but it was really great. Absolutely loved. I would recommend reading the first book just because it gives you a little insight onto who Jack and Jill were before this, but I do believe that you can read this entire series as standalone books. You do not have to read them in the order in which they were published. After that, we have the second volume of The Ancient Magus' Bride by Kori Yamazaki, and I have the first volume of this manga and decided to pick up the second one at the library, and while I really do enjoy manga, I have to be in the mood for it. I thought I was in the mood for it and wasn't. I rated this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Not because it was a bad book. Actually, this was an incredible book, but I just really wasn't feeling it. I wasn't in the mood for manga. And so if you like manga as your consistent read, I would recommend this series. And then finally last night, I finished Good Girl, Bad Blood, the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson. This is officially a TV show as well on Netflix, and I'm very excited to get started on it. I do believe the first season is only focusing on the first book, but in this book, we follow Pip again as she solves the next mystery with her boyfriend Ravi, and they are looking for their friend Connor's missing older brother Jamie. I read this all in one sitting. Such a good book. I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. There were moments in this book where something happened in the plot and my heart like skipped a beat. I was very nervous about what was going to happen. The ending surprised me a little bit on who was involved, but it wasn't a spooky ending. These are definitely cozy mysteries. They're not extremely spooky or scary or thriller. So if you're looking for a cozy mystery, I would argue that this is one of them. And lastly, I am currently reading As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This is the third book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I have a feeling that I will be finishing this today, even though I have not started it yet. Well, I read the first couple pages, but that's what happened yesterday. Was I started the first couple pages of Good Girl, Bad Blood and finished it in one sitting. I have a feeling that's exactly what's going to happen with this one. So I just wanted to throw that out there that I am currently reading this. This means that I have one book left on my autumnal TBR of this year, which is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. So I'm hoping to get this done so that I can finish the autumnal TBR, wrap up the library books that I've checked out, and finish the 5 books from the jar that I will be pulling from next on the floor. In that little run through of my October wrap up, I realized that I mentioned 2 of our mysteries as cozy mysteries, and I call them that because they don't particularly scare me. I can't read scary books. Anything that's going to keep me up at night or where I have to watch cartoons for 2 hours afterwards, I will not read it, I will not watch it. And so these books in my mind are cozy mysteries because I don't have to watch cartoons or listen to music or scroll through Instagram to get the images out of my head. So they are spooky, but they're not scary spooky. They're cozy spooky. we have our little TBR mug. This is a mug that I got while I was visiting my best friend in Iceland, and I love it, but because I am currently out of space in the mug cabinet, this has been a shelf decorator for the time being. But now it's been put to good use and it has all of my little TBRs in here. So we're gonna pick out 5 books to read from the TBR mug for November. Really gotta mix it up in here. The first one that we are going to read in November is Sanctuary. I'll go pull these off my shelf too so that we can go over them a little bit more in depth and not just a sheet of paper. Ooh. And I Darken. That one's actually right behind me. For number 3, we are gonna be reading Clockwork Angel. I have not read The Infernal Devices yet, and I have the first one, so I am finally getting around to reading Clockwork Angel. It's been a Cassandra Clare kind of fall, hasn't it? That was 3. For number 4, The Brothers Grimm. That's actually this beautiful red book right here. It is a collection of the Brothers Grimm, and we'll go into that a little bit more. One more. Oh, I don't like it. The last one, Ruin and Rising, which, okay. I have to put this one back because I haven't read Siege and Storm yet, so I'm sorry, that one has to come out. I've only read the first one. Critical Role, that's that book that I just did a haul of from the library, from the buyback section in my previous video. Okay, I'm so excited. This is a great TBR. Okay, we've collected all of our books that we drew. Let's talk about what we drew. We have Sanctuary by Carol Lix. This was a gift for Christmas a couple years ago, and it's been unfortunately just sitting on my shelf. I'm so glad I drew this though. I believe it is a space YA fantasy, if I understand correctly from the blurb on the inside. But the back says, "It is time, it is come, the harvest has begun." So I'm super excited. I don't read many books that take place in space or have anything to do with space. I'm pretty excited about this one. Next we have And I Darken by Kiersten White. This is, I believe, a royalty YA fantasy that takes place in 15th century Transylvania. I purchased this book in 2020, right when the pandemic hit, and I purchased so many books from Barnes & Noble and did the curbside pickup and everything. This was one of them, and I'm super excited to get around to reading this. The third one that we picked was The Brothers Grimm Fairy Tales by, of course, The Brothers Grimm. This is a collection of different Grimm's fairy tales, and there are illustrations in here. Like, look how pretty that is. So I will be sporadically reading, I suppose, and hopefully finish some of these very beautiful fairy tales written by the Brothers Grimm. Next, I picked up The Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Infernal Devices series, and we are following Tessa, who is brought up in the Mortal Instruments and in Dark Artifices series as well. I'm very excited. I am glad that I waited to read this one. I started reading this actually on an airplane. I picked it up at the airport, and I did not know what was going on. I didn't know who any of these characters were, and I was really hoping that other characters that I understood and knew were going to be in this book. But now that I've read thoroughly the Dark Artifices, and Tessa is a pretty prominent character in that series, now we get to talk about her story, and I'm so excited. And finally, we have The Mighty Nine, The Nine Eyes of Lucian, a Critical Role book, which follows Lucian, one of Critical Role's most well-known villains, and the chronicles of his life as he meets the Mighty Nine. And I'm very excited. I don't know too much about this, despite really loving Critical Role and D&D. I had never heard of this book, and I found it at the library. But I really like the back. Let me read it to you. "The throne lies empty. All that remains to be done is to climb the stairs, claim this land for us, and begin my reign." I hope that this book is as good as I have hyped it up to be in my head. Also, it's just so pretty. Oh, okay, hold on. Books, books, books. Nope, nope, nope. Oh. No, this one's not okay. The corner got a little bent. But otherwise, the paperback survived. Oh boy. Okay. there might be a 24-hour readathon in our future. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it some love with a thumbs up or hit that subscribe button down below. I will be putting my Goodreads and my Instagram in the link down below if you want to see a little bit more of what's going on. And I would love to hear what you guys have been reading this fall, so feel free to comment what you've been reading, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!